Welcome everyone to our discussion on how decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, are shaking up the legal industry. It's a fascinating intersection of blockchain tech and law.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start simple. What exactly is a DAO?
A DAO stands for decentralized autonomous organization. It's like a company without the traditional top-down hierarchy.
Right.
It's all powered by blockchain technology, making every transaction transparent and immutable.
Transparency is key here, isn't it?
Exactly. And these organizations use smart contracts to enforce rules and agreements automatically. The idea is to cut out the middleman by letting the code run the show as long as certain conditions are met.
Right. So essentially, they can govern themselves through code. But how does that actually work in practice?
Well, it's all about community voting and automation. Members of a DAO can vote on changes, and these votes get encoded directly into the smart contracts. It's like um, a digital assembly line that runs itself. And tokens often
Yeah,
play a role, either being purchased to gain governance rights or even awarded for contributions.
interesting. But now, thinking about the legal industry, traditionally it's very hierarchical and structured. How are DAOs making an entrance there?
Great question. The legal field has been trying to um, catch up with technology for a while now. Platforms like Luminance and Diligent have been experimenting with AI to improve legal processes like contract reviews and due diligence. DAOs, however, propose a structural overhaul, offering operational efficiencies, rapid capital pooling, and cutting down on bureaucracy and corruption.
I get that, but haven't many law firms been slow to adopt tech like AI in practice?
Yes, that's the challenge. Most firms still cling to traditional corporate structures. Yet, there's a growing interest in experimenting with DAO-based frameworks to see if they can make legal processes more efficient. For instance, Constitution DAO made headlines when it raised over $40 million via Ether to buy a copy of the US Constitution, even though they lost the bid at auction.
That's a great example. It shows both the potential and also the pitfalls. I mean, raising huge amounts of money is impressive, but then there are legal and regulatory hurdles, right?
Absolutely. One major hurdle is legal recognition. Most states don't recognize DAOs as legal entities, which means they miss out on corporate privileges like limited liability. Instead, members might be personally liable, which could scare
Yep.
off potential contributors.
And that unlimited liability is a huge risk. Not to mention, if the smart contracts get hacked or manipulated due to flaws in the code, the whole system could collapse.
Right, you are. There's a real concern with distributed governance because while it offers transparency, it introduces new vulnerabilities. Hackers could, in theory, exploit inaccuracies in smart contracts. And the regulatory environment is murky as well. Laws weren't really designed for these kinds of tech driven organizations.
Also, you have questions about AML and KYC policies. How does a DAO handle that when its participants can be, well, largely anonymous?
Exactly, that's yet another significant challenge. Traditional corporations have robust anti money laundering and know your customer systems in place. In contrast, DAO's distributed nature and global membership make enforcing these policies much more complicated. So, even though DAOs hold promise, these regulatory uncertainties are a major barrier.
And I guess that's also why law firms still tend to favor their conventional hierarchical models. They might experiment with some DAO principles without completely overhauling their structure.
Yep, right. Many firms are considering a hybrid model. They can integrate some of the efficiencies of a DAO, like automated workflows and faster decision making, while still keeping a top down management structure to satisfy legal and regulatory requirements.
Speaking of hybrid models, what about the concept of autonomous legal entities? Is that something we're seeing on the horizon?
That's a hot topic. Autonomous legal entities are essentially DAOs, but with the ability to act in legal capacities, meaning they can operate independently without human intervention and have legal rights. However, there are still big debates, like do these entities get legal personhood? Who's liable if something goes wrong? The current legal literature hasn't really caught up with these questions.
So we're in this transitional phase where the tech is there, but the law isn't fully ready to deal with it yet.
Precisely, it's a bit of a catch-22. The innovative side of things is racing ahead with operational efficiencies, like quick capital deployment and automated execution of agreements, while the legal system is still wrestling with how to classify and control these entities.
Yeah, and that legal ambiguity feeds into the overall risk, right? If a DAO operates without the shield of limited liability, contributors might end up shouldering debts personally.
Exactly, a significant deterrent for investors. And correcting me if I'm wrong, but isn't it interesting that despite these risks, some of the world's wealthiest individuals are still jumping on the DAO bandwagon?
It is, though I do find it a bit contradictory. Using something so inherently risky to protect or grow wealth seems like walking a tightrope.
True, but if a DAO is structured with the right safeguards and a hybrid governance model, it could potentially minimize bureaucracy and outright corruption. It's like using an extremely advanced digital tool. If you know how to handle it properly, the
hmm
rewards could outweigh the risks.
I remember you mentioned earlier about token based voting rights. But in law firms, traditional equity roles might be more practical than token shares, right?
Indeed, a law firm might adopt certain DAO principles without relying on token voting. Instead, partners can, retain their equity roles while embracing automated processes to streamline some of their operations. This hybrid approach allows them to gain efficiencies without completely upending their established structures.
It's a bit of a balancing act, then, improving efficiency and transparency, but not compromising on liability or legal recognition.
Absolutely. And it's precisely that balance that will determine how successful DAOs can be in the legal industry. They have this tremendous potential for rapid innovation, but without clear legal frameworks, they're treading on thin ice.
So, what's the way forward here? Is it about working closely with legal experts and tech professionals to iron out these regulatory wrinkles?
Yes, that's exactly it. The key is collaboration. A fusion of tech expertise and legal insight will be essential to shape a regulatory framework that accommodates these new structures while protecting the interests of all
Right.
stakeholders. It's a multidisciplinary challenge.
And given the pace of technological evolution, legal systems might just be catching up soon. Do you think we'll see more adaptive policies soon?
I believe so. History shows that legal systems do eventually adapt, even if it takes time. The discussion around autonomous legal entities and DAOs is heating up in academic and regulatory circles. A gradual shift is likely as blockchain technology becomes even more integrated into mainstream business practices.
It sounds like we're at the early stages of a paradigm shift, where law and technology intermingle in unprecedented ways.
Exactly. And it's both promising and challenging. One key takeaway is that DAOs could radically transform efficiency and transparency in the legal industry, but securing legal recognition and mitigating risks are critical hurdles
Yep,
that need to be addressed.
I love that insight. It's a brave new world where innovation meets tradition, and the outcome could redefine legal governance.
Well said. It's a journey of cautious optimism, embracing the tech while ensuring it's anchored in robust legal frameworks. Each step forward will require rigorous dialogue and smart collaboration.
Absolutely. Watching how these ideas evolve is going to be truly intriguing. Thanks for an enlightening discussion. This intersection of law and technology is something we'll be following closely.
For sure, thanks everyone for joining us. Keep questioning, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time as we continue to explore the future of legal tech and governance.